Oh, yes, guys. Everybody's favorite series is back. No, I am not napping. Not today. Learned my lesson about that one yesterday, Jackson Helms. But the USMNT top 10 is back for another season. Hopefully, a good season. And it might not have been the perfect weekend, but there was still plenty to talk about. Remember, it's not just the weekend that we do the top 10 for, it's the entire week. So starting last Monday. Okay. How are you guys doing? How was your weekend? What game stood out to you? Any American who's playing soccer professionally is eligible for this. But as always, guys, I have to take into account level, impact on the game, position, all the different things you have to take into account when you decide top 10. What have you been up to? Sese, I'm good. It's okay to admit you were napping. Oh, I know. I have no problem admitting I'm napping like I did yesterday. Pete's naps are top 10 moment of the week. I just didn't nap today because I didn't have time because I had to prepare this video. Jackson, Weah is the most underrated player on the national team, in my opinion. Interesting. Pete, how are you? Still doing this for Patreon? Yes. So, Kevin, guys, everybody, actually, I started this last weekend on Patreon. Now, obviously, I cannot show game clips on YouTube. That is the issue with this series. So I'm doing it twice. It's once here in the normal format, and then I'm doing it again, but using, instead of all just the stats, I'm using the clips. All right. So the clips of each goal or even special moments from players who, didn't score a goal but still had a strong performance, those clips are going to go on Patreon because that's where I can use the actual clips. Epictopus Casanova, I took a wonderful nap with my 3-year-old son today. Yeah, having kids that are at napping age is great because you get to nap with them. Soccer TZ1, long time. How you doing? How are you, man? RD Revolver, Dest, most surprising player of the week. Interesting. All right, guys, no sponsor. So let's just dive. Taco, I will throw the ball with you after this. Let's dive right in. Number 10 is Brandon Vasquez for FC Cincinnati. Scored 1 goal against Inter Miami in midweek in the U.S. Open Cup final. Only played 78 minutes, was not able to be there for the penalties because he was subbed off, but he did score a nice goal, had 1 big chance that he did miss. 100% passing accuracy, won 3 out of 5 ground duels and 0 out of 2 aerial duels, which for a guy of his size, that's kind of surprising. This was the goal. He took it in stride, didn't have a lot of guys with him in terms of being marked or defended, but, it's MLS. They don't believe in defending. But it was still a very nice finish, sort of on the half volley into the corner beyond Drake Callender's outstretched arm. Number 9 is Johnny Cardoso for Internacional. Helped them to get past Bolivar in the Copa Libertadores. So it was just the first leg. There's still 1 more leg to go, but he had a really strong performance. Played 90 minutes, created 1 chance, 93% passing accuracy, 2 out of 3 tackles, 2 blocks, 5 clearances, and 2 interceptions. There are still rumors about Johnny potentially going to Bologna in Serie A before the window closes in like 4 days. We'll see how much truth there is to those rumors and whether or not Internacional wants to let him go this close to a potential, run to the final for Internacional. Here's the thing. This week, USMNT roster for September drops, and with Adams injured, with Gio injured, with potentially Luca injured, even with all of those guys healthy, there is absolutely no reason not to have Johnny Cardoso there. In not only in the roster, but potentially even starting or at least coming off the bench in 1 or both of those games. He could potentially be the backup to Tyler Adams if we want to play the lone 6. Definitely better than Kellen Acosta. If we do want to play a double pivot, he could be involved in that double pivot, although obviously he's still behind Musa, McKennie, and Torre in those minutes, or Adams, right? So, yeah, I hope he's in this roster. We'll see what Greg does. I don't know. I don't know if Greg is going to call him up. We're kind of shooting blind with these USMNT roster, at least this next one, right? Because we know pre-World Cup Greg. We know Greg from the last cycle. And all the evidence points to it being the same Greg, but it'll be interesting to see what that roster looks like. Here's hoping Johnny is on it. Number 8 is Ben Cremaschi from Inter Miami. He's 8th on our top 10 this week because he got double assists. Okay. One against Cincinnati in the Open Cup final, right? The equalizing assist for Josef Martinez. And then he got an assist for Messi this last weekend it wasn't an incredibly difficult assist. But to be 18 years old, still eligible for this. He's still eligible for the 2025 Under-20 World Cup, guys. Think about that. He's eligible for the 2025 Under-20 World Cup, is being coveted by Argentina. Is he senior team ready? In my opinion, no. But as a U20, potentially Olympic player for us, yes. Let's look at both assists. For me, this one was more impressive because he dribbled through midfield under some pressure and then had a really nice weighted ball for Josef Martinez to run onto and finish to make it 3-2 for Cincinnati. I like Cremaschi. I think he's got a technical profile. I still think he has a long, long way to go before he's ready for the senior team. But I would rather have him on the senior team than a guy like, Roldan or Acosta or Morris or Ferreira or any of those guys. Very interesting day for Cremaschi. This was the other assist. You all have seen this by now if you're on Twitter. Very gorgeous ball from Messi in behind. The entire Red Bulls defense decided to be a good idea to watch as Cremaschi squared it back into Messi, and Messi finished it. Terrible, terrible, terrible defending, guys. Terrible defending. But at 18 years old, if you get 2 assists in the week, we'll give it to you. Now, I was at this game yesterday. Chris Brady versus the LA Galaxy. The LA Galaxy beat the Fire 3-0. However, that being said, Brady had a very, very good game. And I got to see this one live. Made 6 saves, so it could have been a lot worse. It was actually fairly even, 0-0. The Fire were attacking until Jimenez got sent off. Then it was 10 men and it was over. But what I like about this metric, and this is really what's important to me, is look at the passes. He completed 17 out of 19 passes, and only 4 of them were long balls. So out of 19 passes, only 4 of them were long balls. That means we're talking about him being able to pass out of the back and play under pressure, which he's been doing ever since they fired Henderson and brought Frank Klopas back. I really, really like Chris Brady. I think him and Gaga and potentially Diego Cochin will fight to be the Olympic keeper next year. But he had a really good game. This was off a Douglas Costa free kick. Made a really good save, albeit it was from relatively far out. This was a strike from Edwin Cerrillo from distance. Got down low to make the save. And remember, guys, all of these clips will be on Patreon tomorrow. This was a really good save off Jovelic. The moment that's screenshotted is kind of after the shot when the ball is up in the air. He tipped it onto the post, but actually it was more 1v1. The Chicago Fire defenders arrived later. It was really 1v1, to be honest, when the shot was taken with Jovelic making this. It was a really good save to keep the Fire in it when it was 1-0. And then this was a really nice save. Terrible defending from Tehran. And the shot from, I think, again, this was Jovelic making the shot, but it was going for the corner. He stuck his foot out and made the save quite nicely. So well done to Chris Brady. Still just 19 years old. Lots to love about this kid. Now, Alejandro Zendejas had a terrible, terrible Gold Cup, and we all know this. However, he did have a really good game against Necaxa. Played 87 minutes, got 2 assists, created 3 chances, 4 out of 6 accurate crosses, and a 79% passing accuracy. Against Leon, unfortunately, only played 72 minutes. He did get injured. I don't know how bad it is. Did create 1 chance, but it was really the Necaxa game that Zendejas really impressed. This could have been a goal. It was a beautiful strike that hit the upright. Could have been a really nice goal for Zendejas when they were still 1-0 down to Necaxa. Necaxa, says BMR. Thank you. Necaxa. This was the first assist, got to the byline and chipped it in the air. Teammate finished it quite nicely with his first touch. This is when he dribbled inside, beat 2 players, and then gave a through ball for another teammate who continued his run and then finished. Now, for me, Zendejas, if he wants to continue getting call-ups, is going to have to show this kind of form more consistently, okay? This is Liga MX. This is not the Premier League. You can't get away with inconsistency if you're in Liga MX or in MLS, you need to be performing like this consistently. You have to be a standout, a real standout in one of those leagues to even be in consideration for a spot. And he isn't. He'll have a game like this where he'll score a brace, and then he'll be, anonymous for 5 to 7 games. Okay. So he needs to start doing that consistently, in my opinion, before he even gets another opportunity with the US, because you're in Liga MX, which is only marginally better than MLS at this point. Right. And so, yeah, way to go. I mean, good game this week. He needs to be in this top 10 every week, in my opinion, if he wants to even get another opportunity, because he was that bad in the Gold Cup. Nathan Vanderplug says Cochin was on Barca bench today. Was he again? Is because the second keeper is still injured. Now Josh Sargent of Norwich City, it's sort of a tale of two misfortunes, scored a nice goal. A really nice, a hard-working goal, an opportunistic goal, certainly. For his third goal of the season in only 4 games. He's got 3 goals and 1 assist now. Unfortunately, he got injured while scoring that goal, and this is how it happened. He charges down a loose ball. Keeper gets to it first, but he does well to block the long goal kick from the keeper. Gets in behind the keeper as a result, and heads it into the net, but as you can see, is being pummeled by the keeper here right now. Unfortunately, it's a bad ankle injury. We don't know exactly how bad it is. Daniel Fark said it was serious. He came out wearing a boot. So long as it's not broken, my guess is some kind of a ligament tear. That would be my guess, but we have to wait and see, what they say. Depends how bad the ligament tear is. Could be 2-3 weeks, could be as much as 8 weeks, depending on how bad that ligament tear is. So we'll have to wait and see on Josh Sargent. Really, really, really disappointing, because he was starting the season so strong, finally getting to play as a striker. He was getting ready for a 20-goal season, and he may still. I'm sorry, David Wagner, not Daniel Fark. Got them mixed up. My bad. David Wagner, thank you. It's disappointing because he was really playing quite well, and so I hope he's not out for too long. But Josh Sargent is still just 23. For me, he's in our top 3 strikers, and it's disappointing that he won't be there. But if he can't be there for September camp, which he won't be, it should be Pepe and Balogun. It should not be Jesus Ferreira. All right. So he's number 5. Number 4 is Matt Turner. Now, Nottingham Forest are getting all of their tough opponents out of the way early on, okay? They had Arsenal on opening day. They had Manchester United this weekend, was sandwiched by an easy opponent in Sheffield United, who, by the way, still have 0 points after 3 games. So we'll talk about that another time. Guys, for all the bad news surrounding our players right now, we have to appreciate and acknowledge that Matt Turner is a starting goalkeeper for a Premier League team, and we haven't had that in over 7 years. And he had another good game against Manchester United. Yes, they lost 3-2, but he made 7 saves, and there were some very good saves. He is passing out of the back at times, going long at times. He looked a little shaky in moments, I will say, against Manchester United with some of his handling and decision-making, but nothing too egregious, right? He still made some really, really nice saves. And I will say that shakiness, that nerves could just be a lack of reps, right? Sitting on the bench at Arsenal for so long. Now that he's here, I'm hoping that, regular minutes, we're going to start to see the kind of form that he had at New England, just at a higher level where he's consistently good week in and week out. He might be one of the reasons that Nottingham Forest stays up, I'll be honest, because they do look quite leaky. They do look quite leaky. Let's see what happens. This was a really nice save. This was off of, I think it was Bruno Fernandes who made this sprawling save, diving save to make that one. This was a very good save off of Anthony. A curling shot with his left. Turner sprawls out, makes himself big very, very fast, and makes the save. So there were more than this. They just, on the extended highlights, for whatever reason, I guess when you score 5 goals, the extended highlights don't show all the saves. He made 7 saves. At least 4 of them were really good diving saves. You could argue maybe he could have done better on Casemiro's goal. Casemiro takes a touch, and instead of just coming him out and making himself big and trying to limit Casemiro's angle, he sort of goes down to try to make the save early because he thinks he's shooting, but he's really just taking a touch, and then that gave him too much space. To be fair, he was back up to try to, make himself big the second time. I'm not going to say that goal was his fault. I do think he maybe could have done better on Casemiro's goal, but it was mostly on their defense for falling asleep. And I'm okay with the occasional could he have done better there, so long as there's no clear this is his fault, this is poor, right? And the fact that he's doing it in the Premier League is encouraging and impressive, and long may it continue. Number 3, our boy is back. Sergino Dest for PSV Eindhoven had only been in the club for 2 days, barely 48 hours, and started a crucial away game, Champions League qualifier versus Rangers, in which he played 80 minutes, created 1 chance, had a 91% passing accuracy, completed 5 out of 8 dribbles, which was the match highest of anybody, 8 passes into the final third, won 7 out of his 10 ground duels, 1 out of his 1 aerial duel, drew 1 foul. His crossing, however, was poor. Overall, as debuts go, this was a very good debut from Sergino Dest. He looked sharp. He looked sharp, looked focused, looked tuned in. And I really hope this is the beginning of a renaissance from Serge, because it's been a rough couple years for him, in terms of his focus, his mentality, his playing time, all of those things. Now, he was kind of gifted this opportunity because Patrick Van Aanholt got injured, right? He's still going to have to try. If he wants to play right back, he's going to have to beat out Jordan Teze. And that's not going to be easy because Jordan Teze was very good. If he wants to play left back, he's going to have to beat out Patrick Van Aanholt. He might be there originally as the backup to both of those on right back and left back. That being said, he couldn't have done too much better. Could he have gotten an assist or 2? Maybe, yes. I do think he was a little off. He'd only been there for 48 hours. I think it was a very, very encouraging debut. And to get the 2-2 draw in Rangers means this coming week on Wednesday, they'll be at home. If they win that game, which, at home against Rangers, you certainly expect them to, then Sergino Dest, Tim Tillman, and Ricardo Pepi will all be in the Champions League this coming season. So we'll be rooting hard for them. Let's see how they do. They did not have a game this weekend, PSV Eindhoven. So they're very well rested compared to Rangers, who did have a game this weekend. But yeah, congrats to Serge. I hope he keeps this form for the rest of the season and even improves on it. Timo Weah versus Bologna today, in fact, this morning. Played 82 minutes, created 2 chances. Malik Tillman, thank you, Wuxia. 79% passing accuracy. 2 out of 2 ground duels won, 2 out of 3 aerial duels won, and 1 foul drawn. Yes.
How much longer do you think?
Another 10 minutes max.
10 minutes?
Yeah. So very encouraging. It wasn't his debut. It was his second game. I thought his first game was neither terrible nor great. It was rather mediocre. I thought the first half he was busy. I thought he was industrious without being super effective all the time. He did draw an interesting foul. But the second half, in my opinion, he was much better. He was involved in a lot of the good attacks that Juve was creating, looking for that equalizer versus Bologna. 2 great moments from him in the game were this one, where the ball bounced out from, a header. He took it down and struck a really, really nice goal. Did it say he scored? Sorry, that must be from the previous slide that I forgot to delete. Please note, Timo Weah did not score or assist on this game. Thanks for catching that, guys. But he did have this really nice shot that drew a very, very good save out of Bologna's keeper and could have actually been a goal. It was really well struck, real stinging strike right in the corner. Was honestly a slightly less good keeper, and that's a great, great goal for Timo. That was a really nice moment from him. This was a really good cross that he had. I originally thought this was Chiesa who missed this, but it was actually Cambiaso. A very good cross under some pressure. He creates just a half yard of space, crosses it in, finds Cambiaso at the far post. But under some pressure, Cambiaso hits the side netting, which was disappointing because he could have gotten a nice assist. Excuse me. He also had some other good moments, setting up attacks, drawing fouls. Very, very encouraging 82 minutes from him. He was replaced by Weston McKennie, and that is sad because I want both of them on the field at the same time. But Weston McKennie's going to have to do better, particularly when he plays central midfield. And of course, our boy, Christian Pulisic. A second goal in his second game for Milan, played 90 minutes. He's in the first place of our top 10. Had another very, very strong performance. Very good in combination with Loftus-Cheek, with Olivier Giroud, with our friend Rafael Leao. He settled in with Milan quite nicely. And while his goal wasn't quite the belter that he scored last week, it puts him into two. He got this ball, dribbled into midfield. He slid Loftus-Cheek in behind. Loftus-Cheek did well to beat his man and lay it across the face of 6-yard box. Olivier Giroud dragged some defenders out of the way, and nobody watches Pulisic as he goes into the far post to make it 1-0. And the Italian commentator lost his shit on this goal. He started shouting USA, USA. He goes from Italian to then USA, and then he goes, "Come on, baby." It was cool. No, it's cool to see him doing so well in Milan, which I think being trusted, he's a confidence player, Pulisic, right? He's a confidence player. He's trusted there. He's wanted. They're going to give him a consistent run of games, right? He's not going to be out of the team if he has one bad game. I don't think. I think mostly they're going to understand his talent level. They give him freedom to drift inside. So, yeah, it's just fun. I mean, it's just so cool watching our boy play there. And, you know, despite the Chelsea fans not believing in him, and maybe even some USMNT fans losing faith in him, I think he's showing that he's still got it at a very, very high level. What I can't wait is to see him in the Champions League and Milan in the Champions League. That's going to be pretty, pretty cool. So, yeah, it's just cool. It's exciting, and it's good times, you guys. Good times. Jeff Carey says, I hear Windex is great for injuries. We seem to have a lot of injuries. Windex? Never heard that. Pete, I think you're more attractive than Tack, but Tack has a little better personality. Got to go with Pulisic this week. What about Jedi? Well, thanks, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a backhanded compliment there, Jeff, but thanks for the super chat. Yeah, so guys, tomorrow, it's not going to be this long. I'm just going to take the same guys and the same events that I've shown here, and then I'm going to add the clips from the games. On Patreon, it's $3 a month, less than a cup of coffee every month. If you want to check that out, it also helps to support the channel. So yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, what was your favorite goal or moment of the weekend? My girlfriend has competition from Jeff Carey. I think she's pretty safe. No offense, Jeff, but my girlfriend might be slightly more attractive than you. No offense, Jeff. Let's see. A lot of former Chelsea players looking good with Milan. Giroud and Pulisic looking good. Yeah, not just Giroud. The Milan's two lineups this last weekend have had 4 ex-Chelsea players in them. Tomori, Giroud, Pulisic, and Loftus-Cheek. So it's almost like, God forbid, when you leave a toxic club without a plan or direction or stability with some fairly toxic fans, and you go to a place where you're loved and wanted, things can actually go pretty well, right? And I think that's what we've seen with Chelsea players, not just with those 4, but you could say the same thing for a guy like Lukaku. In the past, you could say the same thing for Mo Salah and Kevin De Bruyne. There's a lot of Chelsea players that leave Chelsea and seem to come alive. And I think that says a lot for what a toxic club Chelsea is. But, you know, you can't blame them. I mean, they're a mid-table club with aspirations to be a top 4 club. And sometimes that can create an atmosphere where your expectations are unrealistic. And so you take out your frustrations on the players instead of looking around and saying, okay, well, what are we? We're a solid mid-table club, and mostly we should be grateful to avoid relegation. So James Charles, Pete, do you know why Jalen Neal did not play? Yeah, I heard he was injured. I mean, now that they've got Maya Yoshida there, he has more competition for his spot. But He's better than Eric Zavaleta, in my opinion. I would start Yoshida and Jalen Neal together, right? So, yeah, guys, that's top 10. Like I said, tomorrow the top 10 will be on Patreon, except there will be clips, including like clips from guys like Serge or Johnny, who, you know, finding their best moments, and so you can actually get the visual, because I cannot use them on YouTube. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back next week for the top 10. We've got big ones coming up. Tonight is Seattle, Minnesota. If you want to check out everyone's favorite boy, Jordan Morris. Hopefully Obed Vargas starts, or Obed Vargas plays at least. But I think Wednesday, is it Tuesday? Let me just double check. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday that we'll find out? I think it's Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday. Wednesday, I believe we'll find out if they make the Champions League. 12 p.m. Pacific time, PSV at home to Rangers. So let's see what happens. Yeah, it was fun, BMR. I mean, it was classic MLS, you know, very mild, you know, a lot of golf clapping and not a lot of quality. Both Galaxy and Chicago are pretty poor this year. I mean, Chicago's been poor for a long time. So is the Galaxy, actually. So the game quality itself wasn't great, but I got to see my boy Guti and I got to see Brady. All right, I'm going to go head out to a pool party with my girl, guys. So have a great Sunday. Enjoy. Do whatever you do. Roster should come out on the 30th. So that is Wednesday as well, I believe. USMNT roster is supposed to drop Wednesday. Obviously, we'll do a video for that. Have a great one, guys. Later. Talk to you soon. We're back.